So he goes Chainlink 1 Aerial, Chainlink 2 Dragon, Chainlink 3 App Clone. My stuff is going to be Chainlink 4, where I activate App Clone as Chainlink 4, Hedgehog as Chainlink 5, Schism as Chainlink 6, and Chainlink 7 is going to activate Ghost Bell. I don't know about you guys, but I normally don't see Chainlink 7s in the games I play. What's up guys, this is Tcg Sam here, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over a very close and back and forth Shaddoll mirror that I played recently. But before we begin, I just want to ask you guys to please remember, if you haven't already, leave a like, comment, subscribe, because it really helps keep me motivated to keep posting more videos like this. And also, a very small percentage of you are actually subscribed to the channel, so if you do like watching these videos, please let me know by subscribing. It would really help me out and really help the channel grow, and I would really appreciate it. But without any further ado, let's just hop straight in. So we tie with rock, paper, scissors, tie again, and then he goes for rock. I should have known, man. These guys always play rock, but anyways, he actually makes us go first, interestingly enough. And our opening hand is Magis's Invocation, Dogmatica Punishment, Ariel, Wendy, and Rilliona. So unfortunate because I drew the one of Invocation. I only play one because I feel like you only need one. If we draw them together, it's not the end of the world. It's still a light monster to use with it. My opponent's opening hand is Meister, Skomata, Ash, Rilliona, and a Beast. So their hand is pretty nice too. 2 hand traps are going second and a fusion play. Starting off, I activate Invocation, fusing away the Rilliona and Wendy, going Construct Chainlink 1, Wendy Chainlink 2, which gets Meistered. It's a little unfortunate, but it is what it is. Effective Construct Dump, Skomata Effect Dump Schism. Not really sure why he didn't ash that, because in a way this is kind of quote-unquote greedy, because it doesn't play around Ash. Because if I sent Skomata and he ashed it, I'd have no access to Schism, whereas if I just sent Schism right away, I could still make a gravity controller and then Construct grab back the Schism still. So it's a little greedy on my part, quote-unquote greedy, but like it I guess once looking back on these plays, it's more beneficial for me to actually make mistakes so everyone learns this way. But anyways, I link it to controller, adding back the Schism. The reason I dumped the extra Skomata was to get the extra name in graveyard for Schism, so I'd have 2 fusions available instead of just the 1. Our opponent draws Super Poly, so his hand is nuts. So he starts with Rilliona. Rilliona adds Invocation, and then we're going to activate Invocation, and then fusing away the Beast and the Rilliona, which I don't agree with. Definitely should have gone with Skomata even if he plays the 1 Beast, just because Skomata accesses another spell or trap from the deck, or any Shaddoll card from your deck. So pretty much, Skomata has so much more utility than Beast, and like I just feel like to draw 1 for a random card just isn't that good. But going with Beast actually draws him Shaddoll Fusion, so okay, I guess. Alright, I guess the Beast, like, he got rewarded for sending the Beast, but it is what it is. He had access to Shaddoll Fusion anyways if he's fused away with Skomata and Construct, so whatever. He dumps a Schism, activates a Shaddoll Fusion, and I considered making a window here, but there really is no point because no matter what he summons, like, he's going to be able to beat over my window. So I decided to save the Schism for something else. But like, that's the other thing too. When he sends a card like Dragon, if he targets my punishment, that could be pretty bad for me. But he goes Winda, targets the set in the middle, so he misses my punishment, but it forces me to use the Schism here. And in my mind, I really don't want to send the Winda. There's no point for me to send it, but I also don't want to send the Construct because he's just going to get so many resources back. So I make a play which I think makes sense. That's going for Schism. Schism is going to banish a Wendy and a Construct to summon a Construct. I decide not to send the Construct because I don't want to get him grabbing back Schism, and instead I go for Construct effect, sending Ariel from my deck to the graveyard, which I guess interesting enough he didn't choose to ash for some reason. So still a little confused. He's playing a little unoptimally in my opinion. Pretty sure I would have lost this duel if he played optimally, but anyways, we send our Ariel. Ariel's gonna banish all of his resources, spell or trap resources from his graveyard. So now his fusions get no value when they die, or when he links it off. So that is really, really huge in this mirror, because my fusion still gets value for adding back the Schism if he chooses to out it. And if he doesn't choose to out it, I have an extra body that can just out anything on his board. So he swings as a gravity controller. I take the 12 and he just sets Super Poly Pass. Draw for turn, we draw a Hedgehog, which is kind of okay. It's not super great, to be honest. We can't really do much with it as of now. We go straight into battle phase. Gravity controller is going to return both the construct and itself to the extra deck. This effect is actually huge. Like, don't forget that if it battles a monster in the extra EMZ, you can return both this and that monster back into the extra deck. So not only does that give me back my gravity controller, it outs his monster. So it's really, really huge. Construct effect is gonna attempt to swing into Winda, and he chains the Super Poly, discarding Squamata, fusing away the Winda and the construct for his own construct. So his construct activates, my construct grabs back my Schism, which is totally okay. He sends a Wendy. Wendy's gonna send him a Hedgehog, and all I can do is set Schism. I decide to set Hedgehog here as opposed to Aerial, because while Aerial had the chance to bring back construct, I felt like Aerial was gonna be better for me to hold it because I only played 2 Aerials, and I wanted to trigger send Apclone off of punishment, and then Apclone effect, search a spell or trap, discard Aerial, and then Aerial banish 3 more cards from his graveyard to further devastate his resource and grind game. So that was my mindset. I also figured Hedgehog's also not a bad set because I can search a card like Shaddoll Incarnation and start my grind game from there. Opponent draws a Nip for turn, flips Falco. Falco effect's gonna summon back Beast, and then he sets it. And then he's gonna flip Hedgehog. Hedgehog effect is gonna search Resh. Here I contemplated using the punishment, but I really didn't want to punishment any of these small guys because it just doesn't really make sense in my head. He had nothing good to banish at the moment, so I was still holding it for when he made a card like Cross Sheep or something. But unfortunately for me, he actually goes straight into the BLS link, and this card is insane in this deck because pretty much your big fusion guys. I believe Apclone should be high enough level, but it could be like wrong. But either way, the fact that Construct is high enough level for you to get full value off of the BLS link is just absolutely insane. And then I don't play a Shekinaga extra deck, so Schism can't out it either. So I guess it was a risk he took, and it paid off because I actually don't play Shekinaga, so I have no way to out the BLS link. I decided to just go for a Construct off of my Schism when he attempts to go battle phase, and then activating my construct. He still doesn't ash for some reason, so I'm a little confused at this point. I go Squamata, and now he ashes, which, I mean, this ash would have come in clutch a lot earlier for him, to be honest, but it is what it is. We go battle phase, he beats over my construct. Effect, he actually chooses to banish my set monster, which I felt like could have been a mistake because Schism gets me so much value every single turn during his turn and my turn. This makes it so I don't have to draw top deck Shaddoll Fusion or top deck a fusion spell at all. I can just use the resources in my graveyard to continue setting up, which is just absolutely insane. And I already have an out for the BLS link because I have Gravity Controller back in my extra deck, so that's pretty nice. So I feel like he definitely should have banished the Schism. I mean, sure, I guess he didn't want me to get a Hedgehog search for a fusion, which is fair, I guess, but I think he'd rather put me on the having the Hedgehog specifically and banishing the guaranteed fusion that I'm gonna get off of Schism, because, you know, like in my graveyard I already have Schism set up for another construct which can send a fusion, make Gravity Controller, out your BLS link, and have Shaddoll Fusion. So it's absolutely insane. He sets a Shaddoll Incarnation. We draw for turn, we draw Resh. So like, you'll see what I mean here. I would have no place if he just, I mean, of course I would have had the Hedgehog, but like, still, if that wasn't a Hedgehog set, I would have had no place here. But instead, I actually made a mistake. I burned through 3 constructs already. So I guess that's why he didn't make the plays. That was my apologies. But either way, I make another Apclone, and Apclone can search for a Shaddoll Fusion. So what I did there, I accidentally fast forwarded a little. I summoned Apclone. Apclone didn't do anything. I linked it into Gravity Controller, searched Fusion, ditched Aerial. Aerial effect attempted to banish his Dragon, Winda, and his construct. He chained Shaddoll on his construct, and now this is where the game is. He goes construct, sending Aerial. Aerial banishing my Squamata, my 3rd construct, and my Apclone. So now I'm on really low resources because all my constructs are gone. All my Aerials are gone, and I don't play Falco too, which was a lesson I learned. I should probably put Falco in my deck for the future. You'll see that come up in game 2 as well. Shaddoll Fusion sends Wendy and a Squamata to summon my last Applone from deck. Applone's just gonna chain block for my other 2 effects. Sending Resh, setting the dragon, and then from here I didn't want him to add back his Resh, so I decided to Resh up the dragon effect, bounce construct, and funnily enough, I believe this is just 4 summons because I go Applone, controller, Applone, dragon, so his Nib actually is dead. I actually wasn't trying to play around Nib here, but it just happened that we were able to. Gravity Controller outs the BLS Link. Like, this card is just insane in this deck. If you guys aren't playing it, you definitely should be. I decided to go swing into his Beast because I didn't want him to crash his Beast into my window or something in the future. So I got rid of the Beast then and there. He ditches Fusion, but he draws Harpy's Feather Duster, which is pretty huge for him because I have 3 back row. So he top decks Mathematician for turn, activates Feather Duster, I chain my Schism, and I chain my Incarnation. So I bring back my Aerial. Aerial has the opportunity to bring back one of my Constructs or Applone later on. And then my Schism, remember Schism can banish from the field. So you can see I had no resources left in the graveyard, so I chose to banish the dragon from the field so I could summon my Winda. And then it gets rid of my Punishment, which was dead the entire game, funnily enough. He normal summons Mathematician. Mathematician effect dumps Squamata, Squamata dumps Hedgehog, Hedgehog searches Squamata, just to thin out his deck as he presumably digs for a card like Shaddoll Fusion off of the Mathman draw. He draws a Meister, which unfortunately doesn't get him there, and he just packs it up from there. So a pretty close game, game 1. A few inoptimally played cards by him probably cost him the game. His hand was a lot better than mine, and he had a lot more things going for him, but I was just able to grind it out because of some of the plays he chose to make. But going into the next game, our opening hand is Incarnation, L, Brilliona, Solemn Strike, and Dynamiscus. Our opponent has Mathman, Allure, Dragon, Ghost Belt, L, Shaddoll Fusion, so his hand is still pretty nice. My hand is not so great. I don't have a Shaddoll monster. So all I can do is just set my Strike and Dynamiscus. No reason to set these and lose the card like evenly, especially because he chose to go second. So I assumed he decided in cards like evenly or what and Lightning Storm or whatever. So I just decided to set 2. He draws a turn, draws Squamata, which is nice for him. Normal's Mathman, and in my head I was thinking, since he's playing, I didn't see any Dogmaticas or something yet. I assumed he was on pure Shaddolls with like Brilliona and stuff. So actually I decided to strike here. I felt that strike was good for multiple reasons. One, it takes the body off the board, and that's important because if he plays a card like Artemis, that gives him a free light monster. Plus, I didn't want him to fuel his graveyard for Schism, and plus, like, if his hand was already kind of mediocre, then this would have stopped him from going to Wendy, setting Beast, or Hedgehog searching something to use for a fusion play. So I felt that the strike on this was correct. I also figured, even if he's able to fusion summon, I could just Dynamiscus away the fusion, and he wouldn't get any value from it. He goes Allure, draws 2, banishes the Squamata, and just passes from there. He can't really do much. I draw for turn, draw Squamata. That's really, really nice. I go Brilliona. Brilliona effect is going to search Invocation, and then activate the Invocation, turning the Brilliona and the Squamata into a copy of Construct, and then going Chainlink 2 Construct, Chainlink 1 Squamata. I do it like this because I know he's on Meister, and I want to fuel my graveyard a little bit for Resh. Although this does play into cards like Ogre and Gamma, I didn't see those yet, so I assumed he wasn't on it. Sending Wendy. Wendy sets a Hedgehog. I sent the Resh not because I wanted to flip up Hedgehog, but because to play around Shaddoll Fusion on the following turn. Because what I can do is if I only leave Construct in my extra monster zone, all I gotta do is activate Resh, banishing something and itself to set back Construct, and then his Shaddoll Fusion will force him to fuse from hand because Construct's no longer considered someone from the extra deck when it's face down. Opponent top deck Super Poly, and then he has Harpy's Feather does it for his second time in this match, so that's pretty insane. But what I do is go L Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2 Resh to bring back the Wendy, fusing away the Wendy and the Construct for another Construct. So either way, I still only have 1 monster in the extra monster zone, which I can use to play around Shaddoll Fusion. He clears my Dynamiscus, which is fine. It was dead anyways. Construct in graveyard adds back the L. effective construct and effective Wendy. In hindsight, I should have probably added back the Shaddoll incarnation because I know he has access to a card like Ariel. If he banishes both my Shaddoll incarnations, it would be so bad for me. I'd be in such a poor position. But in my head, I was thinking, oh, I can probably just link off my guys next turn and grab back Resh because I wouldn't be able to use it anyways. So I set a Beast off the Wendy, and then Construct sends a Squamata. Squamata sends a Fusion just to kind of threaten Construct adding back a Fusion because he knows his Hedgehog, but even though he knows his Hedgehog, like he still has to be wary of Construct now, adding back the Fusion if he tries to commit to a extra deck play. If he doesn't, that's totally okay because I just can flip Hedgehog. Hedgehog searches a Schism. So he normals Dragon, goes Battle Phase, swings into Hedgehog. Hedgehog effect. I added Schism. Schism is so nice in this mirror match. He super polys me in the battle phase, getting rid of the construct, getting rid of the dragon, making his own construct. His construct activates his Chainlink 1. My construct activates his Chainlink 2, adding back the Shaddoll fusion. So I force him to either make the play where he has to send a copy of Resh to his graveyard to play around it, or force him to just not really commit too much. Turns out he goes for a Wendy play, setting a Beast. So now my Shaddoll fusion is live. So personally, I felt like he probably should have sent the Resh because he knew every single card in my hand. He knew I added back L. He knew actually no, I think the L was unknown, but like he knew I added Schism and he knew I added Fusion. So turning off the Fusion means that I would pretty much have to just set a Schism unless I had a Fusion play in hand already. So in my opinion, sending the Resh was a little better, especially like I guess because he had a card like Avarice, he wanted to use it. I didn't know at that point he was on Avarice, so I mean, I guess that's pretty cool. That's a little win more in my opinion though. He actually attacks in the Beast, and I consider using Resh in Graveyard to flip up Beast just to get that extra draw 1 and see 1 extra card in my deck. And in hindsight, I probably should have, but I wanted to keep 1 Resh in the Graveyard for the grind game to add back with my future fusions, and my and the other Resh to keep in the Graveyard to banish and flip something more important face up. But then we draw L Shaddoll fusion, which I mean, of course, a little results oriented, but I still feel like flipping it would have been the correct play. But he goes Gravity Controller, Construct adds back L, and he slams down Avarice. And at this point, I was like, wow, that's pretty nice. It works out for him here, I guess. But in my opinion, it's definitely win more, so I don't think you guys should play it. Then all he does is set L. He doesn't set his Super Poly, which I find really interesting. So some of the plays he's making, in my opinion, aren't really correct. Like I don't see why you wouldn't set the Super Poly here, because like you can it accesses your disruption for my turn, and then your El Shaddoll can still make a window or something. So yeah. But anyways, I activate Shaddoll fusion. He chains El Shaddoll fusion, making a window, which is fine. Draws 1 off his Beast. I send a Wendy and an Ariel. I totally forgot window was on board, so I couldn't even attempt to activate Wendy, even though I was trying to negate it with Alclone, but it is what it is. I mainly just wanted the Ariel to banish his resources from his graveyard. So even though he didn't have too much, we were able to take out his monsters for Schism and take out his El Shaddoll fusion, so he couldn't get any value from window. I attack into his window, and then here I don't make the Gravity Controller play because I'm still trying to play around a card like Shaddoll fusion by just keeping any Shaddoll monster, 1 Shaddoll extra deck monster on my field at a time. I have Rush Shaddoll in my graveyard, so I felt like I was pretty safe no matter what, and I could set my L, set my Schism. But he top decks Meister for turn, so that's huge. If he didn't have that Meister, like this Shaddoll fusion would have forced him to use stuff from hand. It would have been not so ideal, but unfortunately, he had the Meister. So all I can do is just chain my El Shaddoll fusion, force him to lock himself into the own singular special summon with the window. I didn't want him to get value off of a Wendy or something, especially because he just shuffled all his resources back. So he sends a Dragon, sends an Ariel, makes the Alclone, and this is where it gets crazy. So he goes Chainlink 1 Ariel, Chainlink 2 Dragon, Chainlink 3 Alclone. My stuff is going to be Chainlink 4, where I activate Apollo is chainlink 4, Hedgehog is chainlink 5, Schism is chainlink 6, and chainlink 70 is gonna activate Ghost Spell. I don't know about you guys, but I normally don't see chainlink 7s in the games I play, so that is pretty insane. But Ghost Spell is gonna negate the Schism. Everything resolves backwards. I get my Hedgehog search the Squamata. I get my Apollon search a Wendy, ditch the Wendy, and then he resolves his Aerial, banishing the 3 from my graveyard. So like that was the other thing too. Maybe I should have added back the Shaddoll earlier, because it would have given me such a good grind game. Although this is a little bit results oriented, but like I still think it was correct to add back the Shaddoll, just because I knew he had access to Aerial. In a new chain, Wendy's gonna summon my own Aerial. He goes battle phase, swings into my Winda effects, can add back an L. And then main phase 2, he's gonna turn the app clone into. Oh, he doesn't have. He realizes he doesn't have gravity controller because I banished it. He sets his Wendy and he just passes turn from there. Drawing for turn, we draw Harpy's Feather Duster, so it was our turn to draw it now. But unfortunately, he does not have back row for me to get value out of. When I flip Aerial effect is gonna summon back Construct. Construct effect is just gonna dump another copy of Shaddoll Fusion. And then from here, I turn these 2 into a copy of Cross Sheep, which, in hindsight, was seemed a little greedy. But at the time, I had to go for game, because at this point, I actually had one Shaddoll monster left in my deck, and I had 3 monsters left in my deck. One of which was a Shaddoll Dragon, one Liliona, and one Mathematician. So I had 1 fusion play left with this, and I just had to go for game at this. I knew I had to go for game at this point, so I just committed everything into a Hail Mary Cross Sheep play, and it turns out it works because he doesn't have another Meister, which thank goodness, and he doesn't have the Ash for the fusion, which was huge. So fusion sends the 2, makes my final construct. I also should have chain blocked the sheep because construct send didn't matter at all. I was just thinning out my deck. Summon back the Squamata off of Cross Sheep. Normal summon Squamata. From here, I turn Cross Sheep and Squamata into a copy of Unicorn. Unicorn effect, ditching L Shaddoll fusions, shuffling back the Apollon, turning Unicorn and the Squamata into a copy of Access Code. Access Code gains 3000 attack. Activating Access Code, banishing Cross Sheep, popping his Wendy. Wendy effect is fine. Gets a Falco. Access Code pops a Falco. Falco resets itself. And then go battle phase, swing with Construct over his Falco, and that's just gonna be game. So it was very, very close game. At this point, I was completely out of resources. I had no grind game because I had no Reshes, no Schisms left in my deck, no Shaddoll monsters in my deck. My Aerials were both gone. I didn't have a copy of Falco, so if this play failed, then I would have lost the game. But thankfully, we were able to pull through. So it was a very, very close game both times. You guys could see that even though I got blown out by Harpy's Feather Duster both games, like I was still able to pull it back and grind, which just shows how important technical play is. When you're playing a deck like this, it's very important to manage your resources correctly and just really deck builds correctly, because I did not include Falco. It's probably a really big mistake. It would have come up and helped my grind game so much. I personally think Falco's decent in Shaddolls. Like, some of you may disagree, which is totally fine. But in a grindy deck like Shaddolls, I feel like Falco's really, really good. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe. And that's going to do it for me, guys. Take care. And I will see you guys soon.